Ali, you haven't said anything.
Well, I have been listening very intently to what everybody has been saying, and I'm very moved by the sentiments that I have heard, because it brings back to my memory this wonderful person and this very devoted soul. Shoghi Effendi often sent a word to pilgrims, and I have heard this from indirectly quoting Shoghi Effendi, saying that the victories that have been won in Africa were all due to the presence of Mr. Banani in Kampala.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Yes.
I heard that.
And here he was, Shoghi Effendi had named Uganda as the heart of Africa, and here was Kampala, which was the heart of that heart. And there was Mr. Banani, the only hand of the cause for the entire continent. Mr. Banani often used to say, but what can I do? What? I am so weak. I don't know how many of the friends know this, but we were discussing this with Ahmadul Baha just a few hours ago, that Mr. Banani had not really gone to school, and he only knew his own language, which was Hebrew. And he knew the Hebrew script. He could not even read Persian, although he spoke it. He could not read Arabic, but he spoke it. So he had his little booklet, and in his own handwriting he had written the Persian and Arabic prayers in Hebrew script, and he would memorize these prayers. Speaking about prayers, I have rarely heard anyone recite prayer with the love, with the tenderness, with the feeling that Mr. Banani recited his prayer. He could move hearts, not because he wanted to move them, but this was natural for him. He loved to pray. Now, as I was listening to the stories here, it was said that our little group, which comprised the Bananis and Philip Hainsworth, God bless him, and Violette and myself and our little daughter, we were in the car, and Philip was driving. And we were in Kenya, and we arrived in Uganda from Kisumu, on the Kisumu road. And there was this customs and the passport office. We checked in, and we, for the first time now, were on Uganda soil. And Shoghi Effendi had wanted this little group to go to Uganda. It had been a long way from Tehran to London to Dar es Salaam to Kenya, and now at last this was the final destination. There was a little tree there, and it was about midday, and Mr. Banani said, ask Philip to stop the car under this tree, under the shade of the tree. And he said, let us pray. This was his first thought, that he had arrived, now was the time for prayer. And he said, let us pray that we obeyed Shoghi Effendi. We responded to his call. Now we turn to Baha'u'llah and say that we responded to the call of your guardian. We did our little part. Now it's time for you to do your part. It is this in his own simple words, he was expressing the very heart of what the covenant of God is all about. We've done our part, now it's time for you to do your part. Love me that I may love thee. And this is how he was. I remember when in the very early months we were in the hotel. We had no home. We wanted to have prayers. We couldn't really, because according to our way of chanting, it would be very awkward in the hotel to start chanting. So we decided that the best thing would be to pray early in the morning. We would get up at dawn, go to our car, and drive on these hills of Kampala. There are 6 or 7 hills. And every morning we'd climb one hill. We'd go to the top of that hill, watch the rising sun, and pray. Have dawn prayers. Pray that Baha'u'llah may use us to teach his faith to these dear people. That was our prayer. And when Agha prayed, it was no ordinary prayer. From his tone, you could see how moved he was. His tears sometimes would shed. This was the type of prayer that we experienced in those days. At meetings in his home, as has been said here, he did not understand the language, he did not know English, nor did he know this Luganda or any other language that was spoken in the room. But Mr. Banani sat patiently, silently in his room, and he would look at these faces. And sometimes I would look at him, he was praying. He was uttering silently his prayer that Baha'u'llah may guide these souls. And how often after the meeting he would say, what is your opinion about these contacts here? He would say, I think that one who was in that corner has a great deal of receptivity. He was that sensitive. Isabel spoke about his being humble. How true that is. He never considered himself to be anybody. He always felt that whatever praise Shoghi Effendi was giving him really did not rightly belong to him somehow. That's how he felt. He felt that all this praise belonged to the other pioneers, not to him. In fact, he would tell his family, he would say, pray that I may not fall. Shoghi Effendi has raised me. It's totally undeserving. I might fall. The more he raises me, the greater is the risk of my fall. Pray for me. Pray that I may be protected.